Good morning, students. So, we completed the states of matter chapter in the last class. Today, we will start a new chapter, thermodynamics. Okay? Thermodynamics. You know, thermo is what? Heat. And dynamics means motion. So, heat in motion. That means, see, whenever a chemical reaction is going on, there is a exchange of energy. Mostly heat energy is exchanged, and this exchange of heat energy or conversion of energy from one form to another during a chemical reaction, so that we will discuss in the chapter thermodynamics. Actually, whenever we are going to study a chemical reaction, we are having two different kind of approaches. One is called your kinetic approach, other called what your thermodynamic approach. That means, see, for a chemical reactions we are having kinetic study and thermodynamic study. Kinetic study will give you how fast a reaction is proceeding and in what way the chemical reactions are completing step by step. That is called what? The detailed mechanism of the chemical reaction. Okay? So, detailed mechanism of the chemical reaction and the rate of the reaction, that is how fast a chemical reaction is proceeding, that comes under kinetic study. While the energy exchanges accompanying during a chemical reactions, that deals with your thermodynamic study. So, thermodynamic study or thermodynamics is the study of quantitative relationship. Mind it, quantitative relationship between the different form of energy, okay, accompanying a chemical reaction. Now, this thermodynamics is basing upon two important laws called the laws of thermodynamics, called first law of thermodynamics and second law of thermodynamics. And these thermodynamic laws are basing on the human experience. There is no formal proof. However, no objection is being received till today against these laws of thermodynamics. Okay, so these laws are basing on the human experience only. So, in this entire chapter, we will discuss about these laws, first law of thermodynamics, second law of thermodynamics and their applications. But before to enter the study of these laws of thermodynamics, we have to focus on the basic terminologies. What are the different fundamental things that we are discussing or we require in this thermodynamics chapter. We have internal energy, we have enthalpy, entropy, free energy. So different concepts we have to clear out. Then after we can go for the laws of thermodynamics and their applications. Okay. So let's see. So if I write study of chemical reactions. Study of chemical reactions. We have what, you know? Kinetic study and now thermodynamic study. Okay. So kinetic study of the chemical reactions depends upon what? Study of mechanism of reaction, study of rate of reactions. Okay, and this chapter will study in what? In your class 12th. Now thermodynamic study. Okay, what? Study of quantitative relation between different form of energy in a chemical reaction. Okay. So quantitative relationship between different form of energy during a chemical reaction. So whenever a chemical reaction is going on, that chemical energy may convert into heat energy, also may convert into electrical energy, it may also convert into mechanical work. So the relationship between these different conversion of energies and heat and work, all the things we will discuss in this chapter, thermodynamics. Okay, clear? So let us discuss about first the basic terminology of the thermodynamics. Okay. Basic terminology. First of all, in order to study a chemical reaction, we must carry out the chemical reaction, and the vessel or the container where we will carry out the chemical reaction, that is known as a system. So we need a system to study the chemical reaction. Okay, and again that system may or may not exchange energy or matter with the surrounding. So if we have a system, again we have a surrounding, and there is a region which separate the system from the surrounding. That is called what, boundary. Okay. So what is the system, surrounding and boundary? System, surrounding and boundary. Let us see, suppose this is a water bath. What? Water bath. Now here we are having a test tube. A test tube, and inside the test tube we are having some gases. Okay. In the water bath, this test tube is being heated. Okay. Water bath means there is a vessel that contains water, and then the waters are, so the heat is being supplied to this water. So when the water is heating, accordingly the gas inside the test tube will also heat. So we are having a gas under examination in this test tube, and this test tube is present inside a water bath. So here these gases which are on inside the test tube is called what? A system under study, and this water bath with which the system exchanges heat and energy, okay, called what, surrounding. And this region, the test tube, is called what? The boundary. So a system is the specified part of the universe selected for study. This one. The rest of the universe, which might be in a position to exchange energy as well as matter with the system, is called the surrounding. You see, this water bath can exchange energy and matter with this test tube. So this is the surrounding. For example, now I am taking your class here. So I need a silence zone to elaborate my lecture. If somebody outside the room will blow a horn, that sound will disturb me. I will be disturbed. Okay, that means if this room is the system, okay, and outside is the surrounding for me, because by blowing the horn outside the room I am getting disturbed. However, if 1 kilometer away from this room, if somebody will blow a horn, I will not listen that, and that horn will not disturb me. So that is not surrounding for me. Same process, somebody blow a horn just outside the room, that disturb me, so that is surrounding for me. Somebody blow a horn 1 kilometer away from this room, but that horn is not disturbing me, that means that is not a surrounding for me. Okay, so surrounding is something which can exchange energy as well as matter with the system. Okay, so here this water bath can exchange the energy and matter with the system, since hence it is the surrounding. Okay, and this is called what? Boundary. And this boundary may be a physical boundary, may be a imaginary boundary. Okay, now this system Here you see, suppose I have a beaker here, okay, and water present here, water. It's an open beaker. Now from this beaker, water vapor can go out. Now heat from this beaker can go outside. Heat. Heat can also enter here. Heat can enter, heat can out. Matter can enter also, matter can out also. So from this open beaker, if I have water, okay, water can convert into vapor, can go out to the surrounding. Now consider this is the system, okay, water can go out from surrounding, and also the from surrounding matter can enter into this beaker. Similarly, heat energy can exchange from the system to surrounding, and also heat can enter from surrounding to this system. That means this is a system which can exchange energy as well as matter with the surrounding. System with the surrounding, and such kind of a system is called what? An open system. So an open system is a system which can exchange energy as well as matter with the surrounding. Called what, you know? Open system. Suppose I will close this. Suppose what is there? Now heat can exchange, heat can come out from the system, and also heat can enter the system. Heat can go out, heat can come also, okay. Heat can go out, come out, okay. Heat. So here you see, in the system only the heat energy the system can exchange with the surrounding, but no matter can be exchanged. So such kind of system is called what? A closed system, okay. Suppose I have an open system which is insulated here. Here I have the water vapors, okay. Now this system neither exchange matter with the surrounding nor energy with the surrounding, because the vessel is insulated. No heat can come out from system to surrounding, no heat can enter from surrounding to the system. No energy can the system can exchange with the surrounding, and no energy surrounding, no matter the surrounding can exchange with the system. So such kind of system where or which can neither exchange energy nor the matter with the surrounding are known as isolated systems, okay. Okay. So boiled water in an open beaker, open system, closed beaker, closed system, and in a thermal flask, isolated system. Okay. So this is about what the system, surrounding, and boundary, and open system, closed system, and your isolated system. Okay. Now next is your thermodynamic properties. What? Thermodynamic properties. See, thermodynamic properties are considered as macroscopic properties. That means these are the properties of matter in bulk. All the thermodynamic properties are associated with a large number of molecules, atoms or ions. These are not applicable to individual molecule, atom or ion. And this is the reason that why we cannot have formal proof for the laws of thermodynamics. Okay. So all the properties are what? Macroscopic properties. We cannot apply the property, the laws to an individual molecule. Okay. It's the sum of the properties, SUM sum of the properties. Okay. Now these properties can be what? Two kinds: extensive property and your intensive properties. So what are extensive properties? The properties, the thermodynamic properties of the system, which depends upon the quantity of matter present in the system, are known as the extensive properties. And the thermodynamic properties of the system, which does not depend upon the amount of substance present in the system, are known as the intensive properties. Okay. See, for example, if I take this is an iron rod I have taken here. Iron rod, and its mass weight is what? 50 kg mass. Mass is what? 50 kg. Now if I cut this iron rod into two parts, then its mass will be what? Or weight 25 kg, this will be what? 25 kg. So what we observe here, when we have this iron rod is 50 kg, when you count this one, it becomes 25 kg. Similarly, if you consider a gas, suppose I will take N2 molecule. When I have 1 mole of N2, it is 28 gram. When I will take a half mole, the mass will be what? 40 gram. That means more the quantity, more is the mass, less the quantity, less is the mass. So mass is an extensive property. Suppose I have 1 liter of suppose I have 1 mole of suppose I have 1 liter of water or 1 liter of gas in a container. Volume is 1 liter. If I will reduce, if I take the half of the gas, the volume becomes what? 500 milliliter. More the gas, more the volume, less the gas, less the volume. That means volume depends upon the quantity of the gas, quantity of the substance present. So it's an extensive property. So those properties which depends upon the amount of substance present in the system are known as the extensive properties, like our mass, volume, we have enthalpy, entropy, free energy, internal energy, all are the extensive properties. Okay? And suppose I have a beaker here, and in the beaker I have 500 ml of water is there. 500 ml of water is there. Now what is the boiling point? 100 degree centigrade. Suppose I will reduce this volume into 100 ml. What is the boiling point? Can it be 100 by 5? Same. So if we have 500 ml of water, the boiling point is 100 centigrade. If the water is 100 ml, also the boiling point is what? 100 degree centigrade. That means boiling point of water doesn't depend upon the quantity of water. So it's a intensive property. Okay. So boiling point is what? Is an intensive property. And those properties which we are calculating per unit are the intensive properties, because they don't depend upon the quantity of substance, because we are calculating for 1 mole, for per unit we are calculating. So there is no question of quantity of substance. That also what your intensive properties. Okay. So here if I write the examples, mass, volume, internal energy, enthalpy, free energy, entropy are the extensive properties. And about these terms we will discuss in the consecutive classes. In the coming classes we will discuss about these terms. Pressure, temperature, specific heat capacities, okay, density, molar properties, okay, also boiling point. These are what? Intensive properties. Clear? Okay. See, mass and volume are the extensive properties, but when mass by volume, that becomes a per unit density intensive property. Okay. Next is your state of a system and state variables. State of a system and state variables. So, we have different kind of variables which we are using to represent a particular thermodynamic system, like your pressure, temperature, okay, volume, okay. So, pressure, volume, temperature, number of moles, these are the different variables which we are using to express a thermodynamic system. Okay. Here the pressure and temperature are called your independent variables. And this is called how you the dependent variable. Okay. Independent variable and dependent variable. Okay. Now, and also we have a different thermodynamic properties like enthalpy, entropy, free energy, etc. And when the thermodynamic properties are having a certain value, the system is said to be in a particular state. When the value changes, the system changes to another state. We can say initial and final state. Okay. Suppose a system is there, pressure your P1, volume your V1, temperature T1. So, as long as the pressure, volume and temperature remaining as P1, V1, T1, we will say that system is in a particular state. State 1, we can say initial state. If the system changes to another state, P2, V2, T2, final state. The system changes from one state to other state. Suppose in a system we have the enthalpy H1, internal energy E1, pressure P1, pressure P and volume V1. So, here the system is in a particular state where we have the constant value of H, E, V and P constant, right. So, is what you can say initial state or state 1 we can say changes to what? And the state enthalpy into H2 and energy E2, pressure P, volume V2. Final state, okay, or state 2. Okay. So, here the systems are having these parameters, certain value, and here another value, the state changes from initial to final. And those properties may depend upon the initial and final state of the system are called the state functions. The properties of the systems will depends upon only the initial and final state, not how the state is attained. That is called what? The state function. What you can say? State function. Okay. we have state function and a path function. So, if a particular property depends upon only the initial and final state, now how the state is attained, that is called what you state function. Okay. Suppose I have the H1 in the enthalpy, okay, changes to what H2. H1 changes to S2 is called what enthalpy. So regarding enthalpy we will discuss later on. Okay. So enthalpy changes from H1 to H2. So we can write what delta HO is equal to integration of dH H1 to H2 is equal to what HO rho H1 to H2 equal to what H2 minus H1. So any state function can be expressed in this manner. Okay, if enthalpy H is a state function, then we can write delta H equal to integration of dH H1 to H2. Okay, is what H2 minus H1. Similarly, I can write entropy called S. You can write what delta S is equal to integration of ds S1 to S2 equal to what S2 minus S1. Okay. Similarly, we have internal energy del U is equal to d E1 to E2 equal to what E2 minus E1. Similarly, your free energy G delta G equal to what integration of dg G1 to G2 equal to G2 minus G1. Okay. So any state function can be expressed in this manner. The large change of delta H, very small change dH, when integrated we are getting the large change delta H equal to H2 minus H1. Okay. So state functions are the state properties which depends only upon state of the system, not how the state is attained, and any state function can be expressed in this manner. Delta H is equal to integration of dH H1 to H2 by H2 minus H1. Similarly, delta S integration of ds S1 to H2 H2 minus S1. Delta E integration of d of E E1 to E2 equal to E2 minus E1. Similarly, you can also go for your free energy change delta G equal to integration of dg G1 to G2 equal to G2 minus G1. Okay. Now, what is your path function? Path function. A path function is a function which depends upon how the state is attained. Not the state, but how the state. Okay. For example, work is a path function. The work depends upon not only the initial and final state, but how the state is attained. For example, see, this is my hand. I want to show my nose. I can show like this. This is the initial position of my hand, and I am getting here in my final position. Okay. So I did some work from this to this. Okay. Also I can show like this. Okay. Also I can like this is my initial position, and I can move my nose and show here. Okay. This also what initial and final work I have done. So the initial position here and final is here. whether in this manner or this manner, in both the cases, work is being done, but the work done are not same in both the cases. So in this case, I simply arrive from this to this position. But in this case, I am moving my hand and I am coming here. I am doing much more work. So though the initial and final are same, but work done are not same. So work is not a state function. It's a path function. Work done depends upon how we are achieving the path. Okay. So work done is what? Work done, heat are the path functions. Okay. So these are about some basic terms. In the next class, we will discuss about the different kind of processes and their types. What is the process? Process and their types, heat, work done. Okay, that we will discuss in the next class. Thank you.